The money was there. It had been committed. It was a fight that was going to take place in a country in the Mideast. And then the Minister of Health in that country said, you can't do it because I can't guarantee that we'll allow spectators. And it would have been this week. So he was right. Now they've called us and they said, if Terence is successful, we want to resume the talks and see if we can do it in the spring, either before or after Ramadan.
Bob said that Bud's next fight is most likely going to be Manny Pacquiao. That's what Terence Crawford wants. That's what Bob Arum wants. He said the fight was almost made for November 14th, but obviously due to the pandemic. Yep. The pandemic, he said that canceled the fight, which that's shocking to hear that Manny Pacquiao wanted to fight Bud, right? But remember, Bud's last performance wasn't so spectacular against Mean Machine.
Mean Machine really was a knockdown. They call it a slip in my eyes.
Right, I agree with you on that one. Now, obviously, remember when Manny Pacquiao saw chinks in Keith Thurman's armor when Keith nearly got stopped by Lopez in his comeback fight after supposedly his injury, stuff like that. Manny Pacquiao capitalized right away. And I think if it was true what Bob said, Manny Pacquiao probably saw some chinks in Terence Crawford armor. I'm going to jump on him right now. I got speed, I got power, I could probably catch him. However, after what you saw tonight with the way Terence just knocked out Brook with a freaking jab like no one ever has in the past against Brook. No one ever stopped Brook. Period, like that with one punch. So what's your take on, you really think Manny Pacquiao will pursue this fight in 2020, spring 2020, knowing the fact that Manny Pacquiao haven't fought in a year and a half? You know, obviously next spring is going to be 2 years. But before you give me your answer, let me just read the super chat real quick. I appreciate the love and support. My man said Porter really lost to Ugas. Ugas' style is like Bud's. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's a great point, my brother.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, a lot of people think, oh, well, Porter, he was boxing. He wasn't fighting his usual self with his usual style. That's because Ugas was so effective in the inside. If you go back and watch that fight, you will see Ugas take angles on Porter in the inside. So we got to give Ugas his credit. True. The only thing about Ugas is obviously, I don't know if he could take Terence Crawford power. Porter doesn't have that much power like Terence does. So Terence versus Porter, though, like my man said, you will have a lot of problems and issues with Terence Crawford controlling him. You know, Terence could fight all around the board. But back to my point, do you think when it comes to that Manny Pacquiao fight is realistic, knowing the fact Manny Pacquiao's coming off like a year and a half or 2 years layoff, fighting a guy who's supposedly pound for pound number one after a devastating knockout performance?
I think like at this point in Pacquiao's career, he's really being smart. Like, and as I'm thinking Pacquiao is thinking financially. He's just trying to make the money. And also, like, I think I don't want to say he's seen something in Crawford that made him want to fight him right away, but I think he probably really think he got a chance of beating him. But in my eyes, I don't see it happen. Pacquiao, he's a great fighter. Keith Thurman, I knew after when he came back that I don't know if he kept having excuses of like he hurting himself and didn't want to fight Errol Spence for that little time. And when he came back against Lopez?
Yeah.
Keith Thurman.
He didn't look
Keith Thurman, he had lost a step. I had seen it.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you.
Pacquiao getting in the ring with Thurman, with Crawford, I think he's asking like to retire. Like that's gonna put him out. I think Crawford is gonna demolish him.
Right. And let me say this to add on to your point. In my humble opinion, he's making business decisions at this point of his career because obviously he's 41, I believe it. Most likely he will go with Errol Spence because that will do more numbers. Wouldn't you say so? Is Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao bigger?
Stadium.
Right. That's my point.
In Dallas Stadium, of course.
And Errol Spence is just as dangerous as Terence, but my point is with Errol Spence is more money. So if he's going to go the hard route to fight pound for pound number one, Bud might well fight Errol.
Might see something.
But that's why I don't see it happening. I just think he saw something against Mean Machine. I think he saw Crawford being vulnerable. However, now seeing how good Crawford looked, with his devastating power, I think he might rethink that fight, knowing the fact if Bob was going to make the fight, he would have made this fight 5 years ago. Remember, when Pacquiao fought Jeff Horn, he was supposed to fight Bud first. He was supposed to fight Bud. And Bud was calling out Pacquiao heavy. And Pacquiao didn't want to fight Crawford then. Yeah, he didn't even want to fight Crawford then. Crazy enough, Bob said, I didn't want to make the fight because Pacquiao was too old, which is shocking to hear. Like, oh, really? Now you're trying to make the fight 5 years later? What sense does that make? And obviously, Pacquiao smashed them claims by Bob Arum because he fought Keith Thurman and beat Keith Thurman and even Broner. So it's like Bob, it seemed like he didn't even have Terrence's best interest if that was the case, because you should look out for your fighter. That's how Pacquiao became a superstar, by beating Oscar De La Hoya, who was on the way out. So why not do the same thing for your next Mayweather, supposedly, or your next Sugar Ray, Terence Crawford? Why not do that? So that's why I don't see that fight being realistic. I think that Bob's just saying all that in order to keep Terence Crawford happy. Like, yeah, I'm trying to give you the big fights, man. I'm doing everything I can. Stick with me. Crawford is just that baddest man on the planet right now. That's all it is.
He is. Yeah. He is. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Manny Pacquiao fan. He's my favorite fighter. But even I could say, from that standpoint, 41-year-old Manny Pacquiao, I guarantee he probably wants no peace. I think the fight he's probably going after next, if he was thinking about Terence Crawford and Mikey Garcia just became the top choice right now at this point.
Yeah,
and that's not downing Manny Pacquiao, but Terence Crawford has been for years for Manny Pacquiao a high-risk, low-reward fight, and it just became even higher.
Yeah, it just got higher. I mean, how high can it get? You fighting
it's that
Crawford?
40th knockout.
Yeah, fighting Crawford is a suicide mission, man. That's a suicide mission.
Nah,
if you want to know what it's like to jump off a bridge and just suicide, that's Pacquiao fighting Crawford. And I'm just being honest, man. You saw what he did to Kell Brook, man. And Kell Brook is a big guy with an iron chin. So, man.
I was thinking, like, what can Pacquiao do at this point after 2 years of not fighting? If Manny Pacquiao, like you said, after the Kavaliauskas fight, that fight happened, I would have saw it as a closer fight. I still would have had Crawford winning. But now, Crawford just coming off a win like this, Manny Pacquiao hasn't fought. Manny Pacquiao doesn't look like his biggest interest is boxing right now. I mean, like, that's just a dangerous fight. It's just Crawford got all the tools to beat him. So it's a fight that Manny Pacquiao probably just not gonna. It's gonna look the other direction, and no one's gonna look down on him for that.
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I took up the world. I took up the world. I took up the world. I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.